the other day where I met some guys from the DOJ who were in charge of saying it's legal to bomb the narco-terrorists. And I told them, as far as I'm concerned, every time a narco-terrorist is vaporized, an angel gets his wings. You'll notice that we're getting very tough on Venezuela. And I want to explain what that is all about, because people are talking about it. In some ways, it's kind of boring. I mean, it's fun to watch some ships blow up. I love watching narco-terrorists get blown to bits. But I want to look at something bigger than that I don't hear a lot of people talking about on podcasts, at least. We've been bombing these narco-terrorists. I was at a party the other day where I met some guys from the DOJ who were in charge of saying it's legal to bomb the narco-terrorists. And I told them, as far as I'm concerned, every time a narco-terrorist is vaporized, an angel gets his wings. But that has happened. And then Trump made the announcement that we had seized a Venezuelan tanker. So here's Donald Trump talking to the press about that. Cut 3.
As you probably know, we've just seized a tanker on the coast of Venezuela, a large tanker, very large. Largest one ever seized, actually. And other things are happening, so.
Can you explain a little more about this Venezuelan oil tanker and share a little more information?
Well, I'll let the people do it, but you see the result, and I guess they probably have released the pictures by now, or pretty soon. You'll discuss that with the appropriate people later on, but no, it was seized for a very good reason.
The oil tanker, who owns that oil tanker?
You'll get that information later.
Okay, and have you spoken to Maduro since your last conversation?
No,
or
I
has it
haven't.
only been one conversation?
No.
We're interested in the seizure of this tanker. What happens to the oil on that ship?
Well, we keep it, I guess.
We keep in the oil. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, said the tanker has been sanctioned by the U.S. for multiple years due to its involvement in an illicit oil shipping network supporting foreign terrorist organizations, including Venezuela and Iran. Now, at the same time this is happening, they're giving the Nobel Peace Prize to Maria Corina Machado, who is an incredibly courageous opposition leader in Venezuela against Nicolas Maduro, one of the true dirtbags of the earth. I mean, he is just a crushingly oppressive guy, and Maria Machado has been standing up to him. And in an attempt to get to Oslo to accept the prize, she made an escape from Venezuela. I don't have time to describe it now, but it was out of the movies. It was this incredible, dressed in a wig, going through military checkpoint after military checkpoint after military checkpoint to finally get out. And then they escaped by boat, and they had to inform the U.S. so they wouldn't get vaporized, the U.S. wouldn't mistake them for a drug run and blow them off the face of the earth. Finally made it, but not in time to accept the Nobel Peace Prize. So her daughter, Ana Karina Sosa, gave a speech. Here's just a brief part of this where all of these people have had to escape and leave Venezuela to get away from Maduro, and she is dreaming of the time when they will return. Here is Sosa, cut 10.
The world has marveled at what we have achieved, and soon it will witness one of the most moving sights of our time, our loved ones coming home. And I will stand again on the Simón Bolívar Bridge where I once cried the thousands who were leaving and welcome them back into the luminous life that awaits us. Because in the end, our journey towards freedom has always lived inside us. We are returning to ourselves.
And we know that's true because her mom, backed a candidate against Maduro. The guy won the election in a landslide, and Maduro just said, no, I'm not leaving. And, he stayed where he is. So these are very brave ladies doing great work and have thanked President Trump for what he's doing there. So it's all, an escalation of Trump's shadow war with Venezuela, and it's getting, seizing a tanker is an act of war. So the reason I'm telling you this is that this is all explained in a new document. Every administration has to make one of these documents. It's called the National Security Strategy. And theirs has received the universal criticism of the elites in charge, okay? So basically, this is where Trump puts forward what his foreign policy, the basis of his foreign policy. And of course, this is just a statement. So when it clashes with reality, it will change, but he explains what he means to do. Now, before I get to what Trump says, I just have to give you some of what the elites are saying about it. And in order to find some really, really stupid elites, we go to the op-ed page of the New York Times, or as we like to call it, Knucklehead Row.
Oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, ho, let's go waltzing down to Knucklehead Row.
So you got to listen to this because this is really funny. You have to listen carefully because I'll go back over it. This is by David Wallace Wells, who's basically a climate hysteric. I don't know why he's writing about this, but he says Trumpism, this is about the national security strategy. He says Trumpism is global culture war. He says it's a vision of geopolitics as a global culture war to capture the imaginations of online reactionaries. A fight for Western civilization conducted mostly within borders between a kind of blood and soil nationalism and a permissive cosmopolitan liberalism, and viewed to a large degree racially. Notably, he says, the strategy document refers to God at several points. Ooh, bad, very bad. You know how it refers to God at several points? Almost, I don't think there is another reference to God except this. It is in the phrase God-given rights. No, no, no. The New York Times does not want to have any of those God-given rights. And when he says that it is racial, what he means is they never mention race. They never mention race in this document. I mean, maybe the word appears somewhere and I missed it, but I don't think so. I read the whole thing. They never mention race. And for the left, that is a sin. If they're not doing things according to race, it says repeatedly, we want to bring back merit. We want to bring back the traditional ideas of acting according to morals and American ideals, and that's what we want to do. And they go, where's the race? How can we divide people and bring socialism if we don't have race? That's what he's complaining about. There's nothing racist about it at all. That's what he means by being racial. Now, here's a more normal elite attack from the Council on Foreign Relations, which is basically the spokesman of the blob. It's the spokesman of the consensus of what foreign policy should be. This is Rebecca Lisner, shocked at one of the key sections of the national security document. Cut 5.
It really echoes Vice President Vance's fairly shocking remarks at the Munich Security Conference earlier this year, and makes the case that the greatest threat to Europe is civilizational erasure. The NSS calls for the U.S. to correct Europe's political trajectory, including, it says, by cultivating resistance within European nations themselves. And it's hard to overstate how significant it is to elevate these views that were not so long ago really at the fringes of American foreign policy discourse into America's most authoritative statement of strategic intent. And this is really a stunning victory, I think, for the MAGA wing of the Republican Party that is represented most prominently by Vice President Vance. It's a sea change in U.S. foreign policy. If you think about the trajectory, especially since the end of the Cold War, where the United States has often been working to make the world safe for democracy, to spread liberalism and liberal universalism. This is actually foreshadowing a very different turn in American foreign policy, and one that should cause us to think about what it would mean to have the United States promoting an illiberal international order.
So she's absolutely right that this is a Vance document, and if Vance is elected president, as I hope he will be, this is the way we will act in the world. Is it illiberal to attack the Europeans, as Vance did in what this lady called his shocking speech in Munich, my favorite speech of the administration so far? Is it liberal to arrest somebody for praying silently against abortion, which happens in Britain? Is it liberal to silence people and put them in prison as they do in Britain, formerly Great Britain, because they sent out a tweet? Is it liberal to open up the borders and allow people to sweep in en masse into your countries who hate your country, who hate the West, who hate everything about you, who hate Jesus Christ? Is it illiberal to oppose that? That's what they're saying. Now, this is all across the board. I mean, National Review picks on this document, the Wall Street Journal picks on it, so it's not just the left, it's everybody's picking on it. There's one person who thinks it's great, and he is speaking to you right now. I think it's fantastic, okay? If you are a homeowner, you need to listen and you need to talk and think about home title lock. In today's AI and cyber world, scammers are stealing home titles and your equity is the target. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on one document. They use a fake notary stamp, pay a small fee with your county, and just like that, your home title has been transferred out of your name. Then they take out loans using your equity or even sell your property and you won't even know it's happened. Until you get a collection or foreclosure notice, then it will hit you. So, when's the last time you checked on your home title? If your answer is never, you need to do something about it right now. That's why I'm partnering with Home Title Lock so you can find out today if you're already a victim. Let me tell you something. I know what it is like to get a notice that your home is going to be taken away from you. Even if it's no fault of your own, it is a tough thing. You don't want to do it. Use my promo code Klavan at HometitleLock.com and you will get a free title history report and a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud does happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. Don't be a victim. Protect your equity today. Go to HometitleLock.com and use promo code Klavan. That's HometitleLock.com. Promo code, how do you spell it? It's Klavan. And here's where it starts. This is how they describe our foreign policy and why we need it. It says, our elites badly miscalculated America's willingness to shoulder. This is after World War II they're talking about. Now, our elites badly miscalculated America's willingness to shoulder forever global burdens to which the American people saw no connection to the national interest. They overestimated America's ability to fund simultaneously a massive welfare, regulatory, administrative state alongside a massive military, diplomatic, intelligence, and foreign aid complex. They placed hugely misguided and destructive bets on globalism and so-called free trade that hollowed out the very middle class and industrial base on which American economic and military preeminence depend. They allowed allies and partners to offload the costs of their defense onto the American people and sometimes to suck us into conflicts and controversies central to their interests, but peripheral to and irrelevant to our own. And they lashed American policy to a network of international institutions, some of which are driven by outright anti-Americanism and many by a transnationalism that explicitly seeks to dissolve individual state sovereignty. In sum, not only did our elites pursue a fundamentally undesirable and impossible goal, in doing so, they undermined the very means necessary to achieve that goal, the character of our nation upon which its power, wealth, and decency were built. Who can say that's wrong? People are attacking this because it changes things, just like they're attacking tariffs because it changes our trading system, but things stink. We're in debt up to our eyes. China is building ships. As I speak, they built more ships than we build in a year. We are in a bad way. And Trump has said this, we're at a turning point, and it's not hurting people now. And so if you are an elite who supported this system, you are riding high. See, every system, no matter how bad it is, works for somebody. How do you know who it works for? They're the people on top. They're the experts. They're the rich. They're the people for whom things are going great. That's why they hate Donald Trump. This document, things are so bad now in terms of defending the future that something has to change, and this is obviously what it should be. Now, some of the things that they say in this document, they're a little soft on Russia. Everybody on the right thinks that we can bring Russia into the community of nations. I don't believe that's true as long as Putin is alive. After that, they may liberalize, but Putin is a snake. He's a very bad man. He's a criminal. We have to work with him. I'm not saying we have to go kill him or anything like that. We have to work with him, but we have to know who he is, and I don't know how much we can trust him. And it imagines a tense, competitive, but hopefully peaceful relationship with China. But it's the way they turn on Europe. It's the way the Trump administration has turned on Europe that gets everybody upset. Continental Europe, they say, has been losing share of global GDP, down from 25% in 1990 to 14% today. But this economic decline is eclipsed by the real and more stark prospect of civilizational erasure. The larger issues facing Europe include activities of the European Union and other transnational bodies that undermine political liberty and sovereignty, migration policies that are transforming the continent and creating strife, censorship of free speech, and suppression of political opposition, cratering birth rates and loss of national identities and self-confidence. Should present trends continue, the continent will be unrecognizable in 20 years or less. Where's the lie? What is false about that? We are handcuffed like prisoners to Europe. That's not going to go away, and the document admits that. Europe is important. If it were only empty territory, it would be important strategically, but it's not. It's still people that we are related to, the English especially. We are related to them, philosophically, and we need to link up with them, but they're saying we need to transform them into us. Why does that shock our elites? Because they think Europe is the future, multi-ethnic, multicultural, their identity erased, quietly subsumed into the European Union and the United Nations and other transnational. They think that's the future. These are the same class of people who thought the Soviet Union was the future. Same guys, same mindset. And Trump is saying, no, we're the future. They're the past. They're dead. And yes, we'd like to bring them into our American future, but the main thing we want to pay attention to is the Western Hemisphere. And that's what this thing in Venezuela is all about. We want our sphere of interest to be the Western Hemisphere so we can pull out of the Middle East a little bit because we're producing enough energy on our own. The reason we're so involved in the Middle East is not because the Jews are the Jews. It's all crap. It's because the energy was there. Now we can pull out a little bit because we have our own energy, increasingly because of Donald Trump, and because of Donald Trump, we've put in a system by rejecting everything that the elites had been doing up till now and creating a system where possibly the Muslims and the Jews can start to live together and live in peace and without interfering with who one another is. That is another part of this document that they say, we're going to love anybody we can love, but we're not going to change people. The Muslims are going to be the Muslims. Let them stay in their countries and be the Muslims. If they want to become, walk around in burqas and give their women no rights, too bad. That's not our business. America is going to be America. And the way we change things is not by invading countries, not by insisting, not by putting a rainbow flag up on our embassy in a country that doesn't want it there. We do it by being ourselves and having people who like us make movies about us like we used to and write novels in which we're the good guys. And until people start to say, God, they have all the glamour, they have all the cool things, they got the best sunglasses. We want to be like them. That's how you change the world. I think this document is fantastic. And what I want to talk about is I think that there should be a document like this for the movies. I think there should be a document like this for marriage. I think there should be a document like this for all the things we're going to need to fix in the future if we do not want these morons who have destroyed everything to take over the future like they took over the past. As far as I'm concerned, the only comment I heard on this security document that matched reality was this one.
We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with healthcare and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet.
Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. My, oh my, what a wonderful day.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. You'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore.
I feel pretty, oh so pretty. I feel pretty and witty and gay.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
For more wondrous material, like and subscribe. And for even more wondrousness, like and subscribe to The Andrew Klavan Show, wherever you get your podcasts.